Before today's video, I wanted to make an announcement. I am going to be raising money for my local children's hospital through Extra Life. This is my 7th year participating in this great cause. I've seen people that I love fight cancer, and no child should have to go through that. I'm going to leave a link in the comments pinned down below, guys. Every dollar helps kids get the care and treatment and comfort that they deserve through the hardest time of their life. So please consider donating and make a difference today. Thank you, guys. Assassin's Creed Shadows exposes how the industry lies to you. So Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed Shadows, we tore that game up from the floor up for like the last year on this channel. That was supposed to save Ubisoft. That was supposed to save the business, as DSP Gaming says, but instead it's literally exposed just how dishonest the gaming industry really is. Oh, it's the best-selling game of the month, they said. Oh, it's a huge success, they said. Oh, it's the best-selling Assassin's Creed ever, they said. Guys, what have I told you that none of that actually means what you think it does? This isn't just about Assassin's Creed Shadows, guys. It's about how gaming companies, analysts, and media twist reality to fit whatever narrative they have, to make failure look like a win. And a lot of this is stemming from that talk that Colin Moriarty and Smash JT had on Smash's channel, and also their interactions on Twitter and stuff like that. And I wanted to give us a take because there was something that started it all, and it was Assassin's Creed Shadows. Smash called it out for being a flop on Twitter. You can go back and look at it. Basically, he said that it sold fewer copies than the last 5 Assassin's Creed games, despite having the biggest budget ever. And Colin came in defending Ubisoft like a white knight, arguing that it wasn't a flop at all. Are you telling me it made its money back? Are you telling me that it sold so many copies that they're bragging about it? Not really. In fact, it seems like they've canceled all the remaining roadmap for that game, at least to my knowledge, right? Anyways, it led to that whole argument about Circana and all that stuff. And other people chimed in as well. Hypnotic, shout out to them, who's another creator, if you guys aren't aware, who has over 100,000 subscribers. He jumped in with a video breaking down exactly why both sides might be right and wrong. And honestly, when you look at everything, it exposes how game sales are manipulated right in front of you, even though they won't say it, but there is manipulation and twist in this thing. It's a good old bait and switch. Okay, let's start with what Ubisoft wants you to believe. Assassin's Creed Shadows was #1 in full game dollar sales on Xbox and #2 on PlayStation. Sounds great. #1 and #2, except that stat doesn't mean copies sold. You see how they use words and different lingo and stuff like that to avoid saying copies sold? It means total money earned. And when you charge $100 for a deluxe edition, of course, your dollar sales are going to look good, even if far fewer people actually bought the game. It's basically like saying our restaurant made more money this month, but leaving out the part where you doubled the prices and half the customers left. So you sell, I don't know, 100 copies at $100. My math isn't mathing, but that's at least more than if you sold, I don't know. You get the point. They're adjusting the prices to make up for lack of sales. They're making the profit off of lack of sales by increasing the price, so to speak. And this is kind of a misdirection. Now, analyst Matt Piscatella from Circana, which was caught in the crosshairs of this whole debate between Colin and Smash, Circana's a industry tracking firm, tweeted out that Shadows was the #2 best-selling game of 2025 to date. I push X to doubt on that. Because here's the trick. Circana reports by dollar revenue, not unit sales, guys. That's why smaller indie hits like Schedule 1 or Atomfall, which sold millions of copies at $20, don't show up. Because the dollar amount isn't enough. Millions of copies at $20 isn't the same as millions of copies at $100 with Assassin's Creed Shadows. Meanwhile, there's AAA games with bloated budgets, inflated prices that make it look successful, even when they're bleeding money, when they're not making their budget, when behind the scenes there's a lot of turmoil, people are getting laid off, companies are being sold like Ubisoft. And it's technically true, right? But it's also completely misleading. And that's what Hypnotic was calling misrepresentation in a video he made the other day. I don't have it linked or ready at hand because he uploads a lot, awesome channel if you want to go and watch his content. But he called it out. Now, why does this matter? Because Ubisoft needed Shadows to be a miracle. That was like their Hail Mary after all the failures that they had between Avatar and Skull and Bones and you name it. They had a terrible year. They were already in a financial free fall, and insiders were whispering about that 10-cent buyout long before it happened, guys. The writing was on the wall. And even months ago, you had other people, such as Hypnotic Smash myself, saying if Shadows didn't knock it out of the park, Ubisoft's done. And guess what? I don't think it knocked it out of the park. And I'm pretty right about that. Now, Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage, which was a smaller, cheaper Assassin's Creed that came out right before this, sold 5 million copies in 3 months. Shadows hit about 4 million in 6 months, is what the estimates are looking. That's a disaster by any metric, guys. The budget was higher and it sold less. Didn't make its money back. Yet somehow corporate media will continue to keep telling you that it's fine. It's like that dog meme in the kitchen. Everything's on fire. It's fine. They can't just admit that they took an L with it. And that's why Smash JT's main argument wasn't just about Ubisoft. If you saw that talk he had with Colin, it was about how analysts like Circana are protecting their partners by cherry picking stats. And for whatever reason, Colin didn't want to even think about that possibility. They'll say things like, oh, number one on Xbox, but Xbox has barely any competing releasing games that month. Okay, so of course you're going to have number one on Xbox if there's no other games coming out on it. Or number two on PlayStation when the only real competition was Monster Hunter Wilds at the time, right? Even worse, they exclude Nintendo everything from their data on Circana because Nintendo doesn't share digital numbers at all for whatever reason. So when Piscatella calls Shadows the number 2 best-selling game of 2025, guys, that's not counting Mario, that's not counting Zelda, any Nintendo IPs that come out, because Circana doesn't use them. That literally eliminates millions of copies of other games sold that would be in front of it easily. And that's what Smash was trying to explain to Colin, but he was saying it was like the industry standard and all this stuff. You're taking all these variables, like Nintendo's not in there for digital sales at all, and various other things. Of course the game's going to be ranking number 2 if all the other games that do better than it aren't included. So it's smoke and mirrors, guys. It literally is a PR trick to make investors feel safe, and they don't want to admit that. And that's the truth about the industry, and this is the part that gamers need to understand. Okay, when you see headlines like Ubisoft's big comeback or Shadows tops the charts, it's not about reality, guys. It's about optics. They need good optics for their games. These firms need these studios to keep feeding them data because that's how they make their money. Circana needs them to keep feeding them data. If Ubisoft, EA, or Sony decide to stop sharing numbers, companies like Circana lose access, they lose credibility, and it happens almost instantly overnight. All right, there's a side to the industry that is being protected. It's being defended. It's being hidden because they need that access. So of course they're going to twist that narrative, guys, to keep everybody happy. It's duh, like a blind man could see it. The truth doesn't pay their bills, guys. Illusion does. So yeah, maybe Assassin's Creed Shadows isn't the worst game ever. I'll give it that. I thought there were spots of it that were okay, but it might be the one that's most dishonestly represented. Hands the fuck down. So the next time you hear a company brag about best-selling anything, ask yourself and sit down and be honest. Are they talking about copies sold or money made from overpriced deluxe editions? Sit down and think about it, because in this industry, the difference is everything, guys. So let me know what you think of this video down below in the comments. Is this all clever marketing or straight up deception? I'll be reading all of your comments. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you haven't yet, guys. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Can't do without you. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.